stop looking around right now, because every second you spend watching someone else's life, you are silently abandoning your own. The truth is harsh, but it will set you free. The moment you start measuring your worth against others, you lose control over your destiny. And if you lose control, you lose power. Look at the world today. Everyone is racing, comparing, scrolling, judging. You see someone ahead of you, and suddenly you feel behind. You see someone winning, and suddenly you feel like you're losing. But here's what no one tells you. Their path was never yours to walk. Their timing is not your timing. Their struggle is not your struggle. And their success, it doesn't define you. The greatest trap you can fall into is distraction disguised as inspiration. You think you're learning by watching others, but most of the time, you're just delaying your own growth. You're feeding doubt. You're planting seeds of insecurity. And slowly, without realizing it, you start building a life based on reactions instead of decisions. But imagine this for a moment. What if you turned all that attention inward? What if instead of analyzing someone else's moves, you studied your own? What if instead of chasing their approval, you demanded excellence from yourself? That's where the real shift happens. That's where power is born. Because the people who truly win in life are not obsessed with others, they are obsessed with becoming better than who they were yesterday. They don't compete with the world. They compete with their own limits. They don't waste energy comparing chapters. They focus on writing their own story, one powerful page at a time. You have something inside you that no one else has. A unique combination of thoughts, ideas, struggles, and strengths. But it will never come alive if your eyes are always fixed on someone else's journey. You cannot build your dream while staring at someone else's blueprint. So today, make a decision, a real one. Draw a line between you and the noise, between your purpose and their opinions, between your growth and their distractions. Because the moment you focus on yourself, fully, unapologetically, relentlessly, that's the moment your life begins to transform. Stop comparing. Stop chasing shadows. Stop giving your energy away. Turn inward. Lock in. Build yourself. If you're ready to take control of your life, it starts now. Focus on you. The most powerful shift you can make in your life is realizing that you were never meant to compete with the world. You were meant to compete with yourself. The moment you stop measuring your progress against others is the moment you finally gain control over your direction. Because when you compare yourself to others, you're using a completely different standard, a different background, a different story, and expecting it to match yours. That's not just unfair, it's destructive. But when you compete with who you were yesterday, everything becomes clear, focused, and achievable. Think about it. Yesterday, you had a certain mindset, a certain level of discipline, a certain way of thinking. Today, you have the opportunity to improve even slightly from that version. That's where real growth begins. Not in giant leaps, but in small, consistent upgrades. Maybe today you push a little harder. Maybe you stay focused a little longer. Maybe you control your thoughts better than you did before. These small wins don't look impressive to the outside world, but over time they build something unstoppable. When your focus is internal, you stop getting distracted by other people's timelines. You no longer feel rushed because someone else is ahead, and you don't feel comfortable just because someone else is behind. You move at your own pace, guided by your own standards. That's where true confidence is built. Not from validation, not from applause, but from knowing that you are becoming better, day by day. The problem with competing against others is that it puts your happiness and self-worth in someone else's hands. If they succeed, you feel like you're failing. If they move faster, you feel like you're stuck. But when your only competition is yourself, no one can take that power away from you. Your progress becomes your responsibility, and your success becomes inevitable if you stay consistent. This mindset also forces you to take ownership of your life. There are no excuses, no blaming others, no distractions. It's just you versus your limits. And every time you push past those limits, even in the smallest way, you expand what you're capable of. You start to realize that your biggest obstacle was never other people. It was your own hesitation, your own fear, your own lack of focus. And here's the truth most people avoid. Growth is uncomfortable. Competing with yourself means facing your weaknesses. It means admitting where you're falling short and choosing to improve anyway. But that discomfort is where transformation happens. That's where average turns into excellence. So instead of looking around, look within. Ask yourself, am I better than I was yesterday? Did I grow? Did I push myself? Because if the answer is yes, even in the smallest way, then you are already winning. And if you keep winning those small battles every single day, there will come a time when the world has no choice but to notice the person you've become. Every time you compare your journey to someone else's, you quietly chip away at your own confidence. It doesn't happen all at once. It happens in small, almost invisible moments. You scroll past someone's success, and suddenly your progress feels smaller. You hear about someone moving faster, achieving more, and without even realizing it, doubt begins to grow. You start questioning your pace, your abilities, even your potential. And the dangerous part is, none of this comes from your actual reality. It comes from a distorted comparison. The truth is, comparison is built on incomplete information. You are measuring your behind the scenes against someone else's highlight reel. You don't see their struggles, their failures, the sacrifices they made, or the battles they fought in silence. You only see the result, and you use that to judge your own beginning or middle. That's not a fair comparison, and it never will be. But your mind doesn't always recognize that. It just reacts, and those reactions slowly weaken your belief in yourself. Confidence is not something you're born with. It's something you build. And it is built through self-focus, through progress, through keeping promises to yourself. But every time you compare, you interrupt that process. You shift your attention away from your own growth and place it on someone else's life. And when your attention moves, your energy follows. Instead of investing in your improvement, you invest in doubt, insecurity, and hesitation. When you stop comparing, something powerful happens. You begin to see your journey for what it truly is, unique, personal, and entirely your own. You start recognizing your own progress instead of dismissing it. The small wins begin to matter again. The effort you put in feels meaningful. And slowly, your confidence starts to rebuild, not based on what others are doing, but based on what you are becoming. You begin to trust yourself more. You trust your pace, your decisions, your process. And that trust is everything. Because when you trust yourself, you move differently. You stop second-guessing every step. You stop waiting for validation. You stop feeling threatened by someone else's success. Instead, you stay locked in on your path, focused on your own growth. And here's something most people overlook. Someone else's success does not take away from yours. There is no limited supply of success in this world. But when you compare, you create that illusion. You make it feel like if someone else is winning, you must be losing. That mindset will trap you, hold you back, and keep you from ever realizing your full potential. Breaking free from comparison requires awareness and discipline. It means catching yourself in those moments when your mind starts to drift toward others and pulling it back to yourself. It means reminding yourself that your only job is to grow, to improve, to become stronger than you were before. That's it. Because at the end of the day, confidence doesn't come from being better than others. It comes from being better than you used to be. And when you fully understand that, comparison loses its power over you, and your focus becomes your greatest strength. Your energy is the most valuable asset you have, yet most people give it away without even thinking. Every thought you entertain, every distraction you follow, every moment you spend worrying about others, it all drains the very power you need to build your own life. Energy is not unlimited. It is directed. And wherever you choose to direct it will determine the results you create. If your energy is scattered, your life will feel scattered. But if your energy is focused, your life begins to take shape with clarity and strength. Think about how often your mind drifts toward things that don't actually move you forward. You think about what others are doing, what they think about you, how they're progressing, how you compare. All of that may feel normal, but it comes at a cost. Every second spent there is a second taken away from your growth. It's like trying to build something powerful while constantly leaking fuel. You never gain enough momentum to truly move ahead. Protecting your energy doesn't mean isolating yourself from the world. It means becoming intentional about where your attention goes. It means recognizing that not everything deserves a reaction. Not every opinion deserves your time. Not every distraction deserves your focus. When you learn to filter what you allow into your mind, you begin to take back control. And control is where your power lives. There will always be noise around you. People talking, situations unfolding, endless streams of information pulling you in different directions. If you try to respond to everything, you will exhaust yourself. But when you decide that your goals, your growth, and your peace matter more than the noise, you naturally begin to withdraw your energy from things that don't serve you. That's not weakness. That's discipline. When your energy is protected, your actions become sharper. You think more clearly. You make better decisions. You stay consistent, even when things get difficult. Because instead of being emotionally drained by distractions, you are mentally prepared to face challenges. You become stronger, not because life gets easier, but because you stop wasting energy on things that don't matter. And here's the deeper truth: what you focus on grows. If your energy is constantly focused on negativity, comparison, and distraction, those things will expand in your life. But if your energy is directed toward growth, discipline, and purpose, you begin to expand in those areas instead. Your mindset shifts, your habits improve, your results follow. Protecting your energy also means learning when to step back. Not every battle is yours to fight. Not every conversation is worth having. Sometimes the strongest move you can make is silence, because it allows you to conserve your strength for what truly matters. It allows you to stay grounded in your path without being pulled off course by external forces. At the end of the day, your life is a reflection of where your energy has been invested. If you want a different outcome, you must make a different investment. Be aware of your focus. Guard it. Strengthen it. Because once you master your energy, you stop reacting to life and you start creating it. If you don't take the time to build your own vision, you will end up living inside someone else's without even realizing it. That's how most people drift through life. Not because they lack ability, but because they lack clarity. They wake up, follow routines, chase goals that were never truly theirs, and wonder why fulfillment always feels just out of reach. Without a clear vision, you become reactive. You move based on what you see, what you hear, and what others expect from you instead of what you truly want. A strong vision acts like a compass. It gives direction to your effort and meaning to your actions. When you know exactly what you're working toward, your decisions become easier. Distractions lose their power because you can clearly see whether something aligns with your path or pulls you away from it. But when your vision is unclear, everything seems important. Every opportunity looks tempting. Every opinion feels significant. And that confusion keeps you stuck. Building your own vision requires honesty. It means asking yourself questions most people avoid. What do you actually want out of life? Not what looks impressive, not what others expect, but what truly matters to you. What kind of person do you want to become? What kind of life would make you feel fulfilled? These questions are not easy, but they are necessary. Because until you answer them, you are building on someone else's foundation. Once your vision becomes clear, something powerful happens inside you. Your focus sharpens. You stop chasing everything and start committing to something. You begin to understand that success is not about doing more. It's about doing what matters most, consistently. That's when your energy aligns with your purpose, and your actions start to produce meaningful results. But clarity alone is not enough. You must also believe in your vision, even when others don't. There will be moments when people question you, doubt you, or try to redirect you towards safer, more familiar paths. If your vision is weak, you will follow their voices. But if your vision is strong, you will stay grounded. You will understand that not everyone is meant to see what you see, and that's okay. Your journey is yours to walk. There will also be times when your progress feels slow, when results don't come as quickly as you expected. This is where many people lose faith and abandon their vision. They start looking around again, comparing their path to others, and slowly drift away from what they once believed in. But a true vision requires patience. It requires persistence. It demands that you keep going, even when there is no immediate reward. The more you commit to your vision, the more it begins to shape you. Your habits start to change. Your priorities shift. You become more disciplined, more focused, more intentional. And over time, you realize that the vision you once imagined is no longer something distant. It is something you are actively creating. When you build your own vision, you take control of your life in a way most people never do. You stop reacting and start designing. You stop following and start leading. And most importantly, you stop living someone else's story and begin writing your own with purpose, clarity, and direction. The world is filled with noise, and most of it is designed to pull you away from who you are meant to become. Opinions come from every direction. People telling you what you should do, how fast you should move, what success should look like, and what path you should follow. At first, it may seem harmless, even helpful. But over time, if you listen to too many voices, you begin to lose your own. You start second-guessing your decisions, doubting your instincts, and questioning your path, not because it's wrong, but because it doesn't match what others expect. Noise is not always loud. Sometimes it's subtle. It shows up in small comments, social pressure, expectations from family, or even the constant exposure to other people's lives. It slowly shapes your thinking until you can't tell the difference between what you truly want and what you've been influenced to want. That's how people lose themselves, not in one big moment, but in many small ones where they choose to follow instead of think. Silencing the noise doesn't mean you stop listening completely. It means you become selective. It means you learn to filter what enters your mind and what stays out. Not every opinion deserves your attention. Not every criticism deserves your energy. And not every piece of advice applies to your life. When you understand this, you stop reacting to everything and start choosing what truly matters. There is a voice within you that knows what direction you should take. It's not always the loudest voice, and it's not always the easiest to follow, but it's the most honest one you have. The problem is, it gets buried under layers of external influence. When you constantly listen to the world, that inner voice becomes harder to hear. But when you create space, when you step back from the noise, you begin to reconnect with it. Silence is powerful because it brings clarity. When you remove distractions, your thoughts become sharper. Your decisions become more intentional. You start to see things for what they really are, instead of how others present them. And in that clarity, confidence begins to grow, not because someone else told you what to do, but because you understand your own path. There will be moments when going against the noise feels uncomfortable. You may feel misunderstood. You may feel alone. People may question your choices or doubt your direction. But that discomfort is part of the process. It's a sign that you are thinking for yourself, that you are no longer controlled by external pressure. And that independence is where real strength is built. The people who achieve something meaningful are not the ones who listen to everyone. They are the ones who stay true to their vision despite the noise. They trust themselves enough to keep moving forward, even when others don't understand. They don't need constant validation because they are guided by something deeper. When you learn to silence the noise, you take back control of your focus. You stop being pulled in different directions and start moving with purpose. You become more grounded, more confident, and more aligned with who you are. And once that happens, distractions lose their power, and your path becomes clearer than ever before. Focusing on yourself is not just a mindset. It is a daily commitment to disciplined action. It's easy to feel motivated when everything is going well, when energy is high and results are visible. But real growth does not come from those moments. It comes from the days when you don't feel like showing up, when progress feels slow, when distractions are everywhere, and when no one is watching. That is where self-discipline separates those who wish from those who become. Self-discipline is not about being perfect. It's about being consistent. It's about doing what needs to be done, even when your emotions try to pull you in another direction. Because if you rely only on motivation, you will stop the moment things get uncomfortable. But when you build discipline, you create a system that keeps you moving forward regardless of how you feel. And that consistency compounds over time into something powerful. When you focus on yourself through discipline, you begin to build trust with yourself. Every time you keep a promise you made to yourself, no matter how small, you strengthen that trust. You prove to yourself that you are reliable, that you are capable, that you can follow through. And that self-trust becomes the foundation of confidence. Not the kind of confidence that depends on others, but the kind that comes from knowing you can count on yourself. There will always be distractions trying to pull you away from your path. Comfort will tempt you. Excuses will sound convincing. You will find reasons to delay, to avoid, to settle. But discipline is the ability to see through those illusions. It reminds you that short-term comfort leads to long-term regret, while short-term effort leads to long-term growth. And once you truly understand that, your choices begin to change. Growth requires repetition. It requires showing up again and again, even when progress feels invisible. Most people quit because they don't see immediate results. They expect transformation to happen quickly, and when it doesn't, they lose focus. But the truth is, the most meaningful changes happen quietly. They build beneath the surface through consistent effort until one day they become impossible to ignore. When you commit to disciplined self-focus, your habits begin to shape your identity. You are no longer someone who talks about goals. You are someone who works on them daily. You are no longer controlled by mood. You are guided by purpose. And that shift changes everything. Because once your identity aligns with growth, your actions naturally follow. Discipline also teaches you patience. It forces you to understand that success is not a single moment, but a process that requires time, effort, and persistence. There will be setbacks. There will be moments where you feel like you're not making progress. But discipline keeps you steady. It reminds you that every step counts, even when it feels small. At the end of the day, focusing on yourself means taking responsibility for your actions, your habits, and your future. It means choosing growth over comfort, effort over excuses, and consistency over inconsistency. And when you live that way day after day, you don't just change your results, you transform the person you are becoming. In the end, everything comes back to one simple truth. You are the center of your own life, and where you place your focus determines everything you become. Not the noise around you, not the pace of others, not their opinions, their success, or their expectations. Just you, your thoughts, your discipline, your vision, and your willingness to grow. That is where your power has always been. You've seen what happens when you compare, you shrink. You've seen what happens when you protect your energy, you strengthen. You've seen what happens when you build your own vision, you gain direction. And you've seen what happens when you silence the noise and stay disciplined, you become unstoppable. None of this requires permission from the world. None of it depends on someone else giving you a chance. It begins the moment you decide to take full ownership of yourself. The world will always try to pull your attention outward. It will always tempt you to look at others, to measure, to doubt, to hesitate. But the people who rise above it all are the ones who refuse to be distracted. They stay locked in on their path. They commit to becoming better, one day at a time. They understand that real success is not built by watching others. It is built by mastering yourself. So from this moment forward, make it a rule. When your mind starts to wander toward comparison, bring it back. When distractions try to steal your focus, pull it back. When doubt creeps in, remind yourself of who you are becoming. Stay centered. Stay focused. Stay committed. Because your life will not change when others change, it will change when you do. And the more you invest in yourself, the more your reality will begin to reflect that effort. Growth will come. Confidence will rise. Results will follow. This is your journey. Your time. Your responsibility. So stop looking around and start looking within. Focus on yourself, and you won't just improve your life, you will completely transform it.